Russia seems to have fallen quite a bit over the years, and we don't see many Russian students coming here. So do you think we need to build that, perhaps in student exchange programs or even attracting more students to Russia to study?
Our interlocutor in Kolkata has posed a very pertinent question, I believe. Indeed, as regards education, culture, science, we have a long-term history of relationship between India and Russia, which brought on the table good outcomes, good fruit. I agree with you in the sense that we have observed a certain reduction of volume of interaction as regards the numbers. And we need to do something about it. On top of that, at the very outset, I mentioned the fact that if we do find some problem issues to tackle with special attention on behalf of the governments of Russia and India, I promised that today with my colleague Mr. Singh, the Prime Minister of India, will necessarily discuss those issues. I believe this is one of the problems at hand, which will be in the center of our attention. Now, there are certain practical difficulties to address and resolve. First, I'd like to say that relationship has not stopped there. Around 4,000 Indian students currently, in certain capacities, do their studies in the higher learning schools of Russia. First, this is not enough. Second, there is a problem which we need to tackle, and I will delve into it. What is this problem about? This is the problem, strange as it might seem, of non-recognition of the diplomas of the higher learning schools in India and Russia reciprocally. This is a technical, administrative problem, of course, and I'm sure we're in position to address it positively. On top of that, with many countries of the European Union, we have been overcoming this hurdle. And certainly, we need and must do that with our Indian friends. Incidentally, this is an administrative, government-related issue, and this is precisely the point we'll discuss today with Mr. Singh, the Prime Minister. Generally speaking, we have been diversifying our relations in this area too. Once again, we have been broadening our interaction on the part of those institutions, cooperation of which is in demand today by life herself and has to do with the implementation of specific projects, as it were. And yes, this is a positive process underway. We need to shore it up timely with training of the necessary personnel on both sides. Then this effort will be reliable and well taken care of. Thank you very much for your question.
We'll go across back to Bangalore again now. Anita, I believe you have a question for the Prime Minister from a person in Bangalore.
Yes, Vikram. Thank you. We have S. Satish from ISRO right here with a question.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. As you know, India and Russia have a long-standing and successful cooperation in space technology. Do you see Russia taking more active part in satellite navigation and also our next mission to moon, Chandrayaan-2?
That's the Indian Space Research Organization, and he's talking about the collaboration that may take place with the next mission. Do you think there will be a possibility for another collaboration for space?
Yes, indeed, we have that. We've been cooperating long term, and our colleagues just reminded us of that. This is exactly the case. We've been successfully cooperating long term, which is not limited to launching Indian satellites with the help of Russian missile carriers. Currently, and we have agreed on that too, and we need to implement in practice our joint, quite ambitious projects with launching an Indian cosmonaut. The practical job has to be started very shortly. Sure, I'm sure some has been done already in that regard, and this is not enough either. We need to define the priorities of our joint effort in the space research. The research of the moon could also be one of such priorities. I'd like to inform you that in Russia we have adopted the relevant program on outer space studies for the upcoming 15-20 years, or 25 years, for that matter, since all of such programs are indeed very costly. Finance-wise, they require timely planning of the budget resources, and I'd like to see to it very much that the programs of our leading company known as Roscosmos be closely, as much as possible, related with the activities of our strategic partners, who too would have similar ambitious purposes in developing their space research programs. I have already pointed out this GLONASS long-distance tracking system, and I believe tactically this is the closest task at hand to start this process, to get it off the ground. And you as experts would know, we're talking about a very high-precision signal to be obtained from the purposes of the Ministry of Defense. That's of fundamental importance. And this is very important too for the purposes of economy of our two countries. There's another subject where we might collaborate. That's the space-based zoning system of the necessity to zoom and develop mineral resources and to organize their rational use. Therefore, such joint effort in the moon would be very important, and I'm sure our specialists in the area will find common solutions to it.
Prime Minister, staying with that area of science and technology, we have a number of nuclear plants in India which were built by the Soviet era. You have also been involved in bidding now for business in nuclear power projects. But there is a concern in India on the safety factor of nuclear energy as nuclear energy. And Russia had a very bad accident at Chernobyl, so your experience there too would probably come in handy in building better safety standards. How do you see these two, the safety factor and the other factor that today you have to compete in India for business with global players, the French, the Americans, and everybody? So how do you see the situation?
Well, this is one of our major, far-reaching, promising areas of interaction, joint effort in nuclear area for peaceful use of nuclear energy. You've just mentioned the fact that Russia had this harsh experience related to Chernobyl accident. I'd like to recall this didn't happen in the modern Russia, rather during the Soviet Union times and in the Ukraine. Nevertheless, this is a common problem and common plague, and naturally this had a saying with regards to development of technologies having to do with upgrading the safety component. Now, as regards the modern Russian reactors, first, I'd like to point out that the new generation reactors have been established on the territory on the Russian Federation. The large Russian national program to develop nuclear energy is in progress. Even during the entire Soviet period, we built only around 30 major reactors. In the coming years, we intend to build 28 new ones. So that's quite in relation to what was done during the entire Soviet period.